hi everyone, welcome to the Active Travel Workshop. Today I'm Suzanne Gibbon and I'm delivering this workshop with Jenny Dunn, my colleague at Groundwork London. Just for a quick introduction of Groundwork London, we are a social environmental charity that works with individuals, communities to improve the environment and support greener living and working across the whole of London. For this workshop, we're working alongside Cross River Partnerships and South Bank and Angel Bid areas as part of the Clean Air Villages project. And I would like to welcome Kate, who is from Cross River Partnerships, to tell you a bit more.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kate Fenton, Project Manager at Cross River Partnership, or CRP. So CRP is a public-private partnership and Westminster City Council is our governing body, and we're a not-for-profit. So we were set up 26 years ago to project manage the building of the Millennium Bridge, and since then we've worked on a huge range of projects across London that make the city a nicer place to live, work and visit. We're a membership organisation and our partners are made up of the public and private sector, which include 9 local authorities, 17 business organisations, which include Angel and South Bank Bid, and also strategic agencies such as TfL and the Greater London Authority. So CRP is currently running and delivering a range of projects across London, and the Clean Air Villages 3 project is why we are here today. So next slide, please. Thank you. So the Clean Air Villages 3 project, known as CAV, is a DEFRA-funded or central government-funded air quality project. CRP is delivering this air quality project with 16 partners, 12 local authorities, and 4 business improvement districts. The aims of the one-year project are to engage with businesses, communities, and hospitals in 16 air quality focus areas. So these are areas that have been targeted due to high levels of pollution, but also high footfall. And they're called villages because they all have their own local characteristics and therefore require tailored local solutions. It's a behaviour change project, and CRP implements a wide range of solutions and schemes on both the local level and across all the air quality focus areas. So next slide, please. Thank you. So activities that take place across the CAV project include, but aren't limited to, air quality monitoring and the production of clean air routes, traffic monitoring studies, vehicle telematics monitoring for businesses who are considering switching to an electric vehicle. We offer tailored one-to-one advice to businesses and organisations within these village areas that we're working in. We have also produced a local directory that lists businesses who deliver or provide services using zero or ultra low emission vehicles. And we've also been running a series of live shares or online webinars in addition to these workshops of Groundwork. And they've had professionals, industry professionals, and discussions about air quality and much, much more. But that's all for now, so thank you.
Amazing, thank you, Kate, for the little introduction. So we really hope you find this workshop useful and it gets you motivated in becoming more active. So just to start off really, what is active travel? So active travel means getting from A to B using your own energy, whether it's walking, jogging, cycling, wheeling, or even rollerblading. There are huge reasons why you should start choosing active travel rather than say jumping in your car. One of the key reasons is air pollution. So air pollution is a release of particulate matter, such as dust, soot, or small drops of liquid, and gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and these impact the environment negatively and cause huge problems to human health also. Road transport is one of the largest contributors to air pollution. And in London alone, air pollution contributes to around 9,400 early deaths a year and causes health problems such as asthma and others. With many places in London actually in illegal limits at times during the year, it's really important to start choosing active travel rather than a car, as it helps reduce emissions and creates a nicer, cleaner and safer local environment for people to live and work in. A really interesting study that was completed by King's College University as part of the Healthy Air campaign a couple of years ago actually found that people in cars were exposed to up to 6 times more air pollution than someone cycling the same route or walking leaving from destination A and getting to destination B just on a parallel, quieter street. And why they're exposed to so much pollution is because in a car, the doors and windows, it traps the pollution in, so it can come in, but it can't go out. But if you are interested in this study, that we're going to be giving you a leaflet after this workshop by email, and it's got a lot more information about the study there. Just a food for thought before we keep going, and something for you to consider in your day-to-day lives. Next time when you're out and about on the street, going for a walk, commuting to work, or just going down to the shops, if you have a look at the cars that are on the road and see how many have only one person in them, just consider what environmental and health impact this is having if one person had one car throughout the whole of London.
Thanks, Suzanne. So active travel also has many health benefits. As some of you know, it's recommended that adults do 2.5 hours of physical activity a week. And active travel makes it easier to achieve this by working it into your existing routine. So whether that's walking to the shops or cycling to work or taking your scooter on the school run, the average commute is about 5 miles or less in London. So that can be cycled in about 30 minutes. And adding kind of exercise into your daily life reduces your risk of health issues like heart disease. It increases your mental health and well-being as it reduces stress and anxiety. I find that walking really helps me kind of get perspective, and it also helps with kind of creative thinking and things like that. And I think we also all saw that in the first lockdown last year, car use went down drastically, and air quality in London and around the world really kind of vastly improved, although kind of maybe temporarily. So however, like with the pandemic, obviously kind of giving rising concern over public transport use, cars are being used a lot more for kind of regular trips. And as Suzanne explained, you're actually kind of more exposed to air pollution in a car than on the bike next to it. So active travel is the healthier choice and is being kind of made easier through initiatives like widening footpaths and pop-up cycle lanes. So if you've been hesitant before, now is really your time to try.
Another really great reason of why you should start or try using active travel is that it's more a reliable option. So relying on active travel also means that you can leave anytime without worrying about missing a train, or your train being delayed, or missing a bus, or being stuck in traffic and then late for a meeting or attending a workshop. And it can also get you from A to B faster than driving. As we know, a lot of time is wasted in London just being stuck in traffic. So a huge upside to active travel is that it can also save you money on petrol if you would normally drive, public transport, but also if you're regularly committing to that 30 minutes or 20 minutes of exercise a day, you won't need to get a gym membership because you're keeping fit as you move. But yeah, I really hope that throughout this workshop, you start realizing that active travel and incorporating active travel into your daily lives doesn't have to be difficult or challenging, or you don't have to become a hardcore enthusiast. You just have to take small little steps. And so as you start incorporating it, it'll become easier to do. So just to tell you a little bit about my story, I started cycling a couple of years ago to work when I realized it would save me over £100 a month on not getting a monthly train ticket. And I'm not a hardcore cyclist. I won't cycle in the winter, but some people would say I am a nice weather cyclist. So that means when the clocks change, I get my bike out and I start doing that regular commute, which is just lovely, and you feel part of a big community.
So active travel is also very good for business. So a report written by Living Streets found that people who travel to shops on foot or bike actually spend more time and money in the businesses compared to people who drive. Reducing road traffic and making streets friendlier to shoppers meant that retail sales actually increased by up to 30%. This was also seen in a trial in Walthamstow, where they restricted the road traffic and saw a 43% increase in footfall. So more time to spend in shops and less time kind of worrying about crossing the road and avoiding traffic and all those things. And during the pandemic, as the kind of outdoor space made available to businesses increased to allow for kind of social distancing measures, customers and businesses have benefited alike. So active travel also reduces absenteeism in the workplace. So if your employer encourages active travel, employees are less likely to take sick days, and they'll also enjoy all the kind of health benefits that we've talked about so far.
Right, so we would like to get you into some great breakout rooms and to hear from you about the barriers and benefits of active travel and your own experience. I think we've done enough talking as it is for now. And so if you, once you're in your breakout rooms, discuss the 4 different methods. Well, we've got public transport on there as well, but cycling, walking, and then electric bike, scooter, skateboard as one big clump. If you number them 1 to 4 and explain why, so 1 being very easy, 4 being very difficult for you to start doing that as an option, and discuss the barriers to cycling, to walking, to using public transport at the moment, and then maybe the benefits to cycling, walking, and public transport. And then there's also a couple of questions. So for employers, how could you incorporate active travel into your workplace? And then for employees, it's what can your workplace do to support you become more active? We'll copy these questions into the chat box as well, so you have them to look at when you're in your breakout rooms.
I'm going to do 3 breakout rooms. So it's a group of 2 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2, if that's okay.
Amazing.
Yeah,
thank you,
great.
Jenny.
So we'll give you 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll give you 10 minutes and pull you back at just after 31 past.
Preference would be obviously walking or cycling if we could, but some of us who have to commute from out of town, unfortunately we have no choice but to get public transport in the form of a train. But once in London and at work, if we have to go to meetings, in general, walking is our first mode of transport.
Yeah.
But if it is the other side of town, then we would often choose public transport. And in terms of barriers to using something like, obviously, like cycling, usually we find that lack of secure storage, so in the form of cycle parks, and potentially facilities that the employer might provide or might not necessarily have, so something like a changing room or showers, etc., to be able to obviously clean up and then get changed, after doing a journey on a bike.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the crux of it from us.
Amazing, thank you so much. Would anyone else like to share their kind of thoughts and ideas from the session?
I'll pitch in. I would say one of the things that we discussed was safety being an issue. So obviously road dangers, dangerous drivers, potholes, construction, but general safety, I guess, if you're on a bike, potentially a problem when walking, but not so much. And obviously a problem with e-bikes, because speed is a factor as well, and rules and regulations are not really clear. So that's one that we had.
Great. And anything from the final group that you'd like to share?
Sure. So we discussed walking and cycling especially, and said that the biggest obstacles to cycling were mostly the infrastructure and the risks as well, with getting it stolen and all the admin behind it. And so to overcome that, we were talking about how employers who provided bike security facilities and helped with bike maintenance would really encourage us to take up cycling rather than walking or public transport.
Great, perfect. So I think you can see some of those ideas on the board there. That's really helpful. Thank you very much for sharing those.
If we can have a think now about the solutions that you'll discuss in your breakout rooms, and just so that we can try and expand it as much as possible and look at the barriers that people mentioned and see if as a team we can come up with different solutions to overcome these barriers. So group one, I've forgotten who gave feedback from group one, but if they wouldn't mind giving us feedback again.
Sorry, it was Abdel.
Abdel.
Hi. I think in terms of solutions, as I said, I mean they're very intrinsically linked to the others. So so in terms of obviously making it safe, potentially having cycle lanes that are obviously realistic. So and also definitely security. So providing the secure storage is definitely part of the solution. So I think the incentives in effect are really part of the solution.
Yeah, amazing. So like your workplace could really help you and encourage you with taking on active travel.
Absolutely, and I think it's not just necessarily the workplace. I mean, even the boroughs could potentially help with that. So I think new developments, it could be part of their planning process that they provide a certain amount of cycle parking, new offices, the same again. So but also as well as obviously cycle parking and secure storage, definitely showers, etc. would definitely make it a solution.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Abdel, for your feedback. Anyone from the second group for any other expanding on what Abdel's just said, or had thought of any new ideas?
Yeah, so we also talked about kind of cycle to work schemes and support from that side. I think something that we don't always think about is like the cost of maintenance and upkeep of a bike, and if you're cycling every day. And so I guess having workplaces or schemes to help maintain that, whereas there's often a travel scheme for public transport, getting a train ticket, so why should there not be one for cycling and bike maintenance? So some programs to help with that.
Amazing, thank you. From our final group, anything to expand or new ideas?
I think that Abdel and Stav summarised it pretty well, but I guess it's mostly looking at the incentives and implementing them so they're more widespread, and so that the barriers to cycling, especially as walking, I think a lot of people are quite keen to do, but obviously there's only a certain distance that can be walked. So I think it's overcoming the barriers to cycling that would really help promote active travel.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, if I may, obviously, I think sort of workshops such as this, obviously on giving and promoting cycling confidence as well. I know that actually Craig mentioned the picture that you had up with all the buses, etc., and the cyclist just in front, and how scary that was. And I think that's how he feels if he were to get on a bike to cycle. So I think getting over those hurdles is also important in terms of giving people confidence to cycle.
Yeah, I didn't think it was exactly, if you're overcoming fears, all I saw was huge buses and black cabs all surrounding a bunch of cyclists. And that's exactly what terrifies me about cycling in central London. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can just jump in slightly, I completely understand, and that's how I felt when I first started cycling to work. I cycled about 40 minutes there and back, 40 minutes there and then 40 minutes back kind of thing. And actually, because even though there's all the traffic around you, you feel safe because you're in a cycling community. So you notice the same cyclists around on your commute, even though you don't know their names or who they are, but you sort of smile and you acknowledge each other just as if you were a commuter on a train and you recognize the same people. And because you're in that sort of community of cyclists, you feel safer and everyone's sort of looking out for each other. But like Abdul was saying, having a cycle lane and a secure cycle path is really key as well. So I had a colleague show me a really safe route to take. And there are safe routes all around central London where you don't have to go on the main road, you can go down a side street. So and we'll once we finish this little interactive section, we'll tell you some resources that are out there that you can use to become more confident. So, yeah. Did anyone want to add anything else? Perfect. I would like to add one last thing. I think sharing stories and like colleagues sharing stories really helps as well with finding solutions and overcoming the barriers. But thank you. If I stop sharing my screen now and ask Jenny to share hers.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. So as I was saying, these resources and support that are out there and you can find in London is quite broad and vast. And yeah, and it's really great to hear from you all about your barriers and how you can overcome them and talk about them, which is really great. So going on to resources, one of the amazing resources that Cross River Partnerships actually created is this clean air route finder, which I might actually showcase right now and share my screen. Sorry, Jenny. And I will show you how it works. So if everyone can see that, so it's a bit like a Google Maps. So you type in your starting destination, starting location, and then your destination, and it will give you different options from getting from point A to B, either cycling or walking. But the amazing thing is, unlike Google Maps, it actually shows you which is the lowest pollution way, and it shows you quite a safe way of cycling or walking as well. So the red is really high pollution, and that will take, this is in my local area, sorry, that will take you along the South Circular and a really congested area. And you can see it's 1 minute faster, but 1 minute, can be a lot of pollution, quite, it could be dangerous, lots of traffic. But then it shows you a green route as well, which is through a park, really quiet, not as congested, and just really, really lovely. So I really recommend people to use this when you're trying to get more confident in cycling, as well as just finding a cleaner route to walk from point A to B. And if I zoom out, Cross River Partnerships have also started developing clean air routes for the local business districts as well. So if we zoom back in, as you can see, all the different people walking, these are safe routes for you to take. And I think they're developing South Bank and Angels one now as we speak. So looking forward to seeing when that's out, and I'm sure they'll tell you all about that. Sorry, Jenny, thank you. Another great resource to use is encouraging your workplace to sign up to the Cycle to Work scheme. So like we spoke about, one of the barriers is getting a good, decent bike, and it can be quite expensive. So if you find a bike that you like and your employer is signed up to the Cycle to Work scheme, you can choose the bike you want and then start paying back your employer monthly for 12 months or even more, depending on the agreement that you have with them. And you pay them back tax-free. So it means that buying a bike through the scheme can actually save you up to 30% of what like the cost of a bike would be normally if you just went to a shop and bought it. And like different boroughs have rent-a-bike schemes as well, so you don't have to buy a bike straight away. So Jenny will tell you a lovely story of someone who in Lambeth rented a bike for £10 for the whole month, just to trial it out and see if they liked it. And once they've had that trial, they can then buy it for a reduced rate or give it back to the council, and just it's completely up to you. There's no pressure. And like we were talking about all the cycle skills and cycle training and gaining that confidence. So both Lambeth and Islington boroughs councils offer free one-to-one cycle training. So Lambeth, I think it's run by Cycle Confident, and they do one-to-one workshops for basic, so really starting out fresh, urban cycling, so getting used to all the traffic, and it'll be you and an instructor, and so they can build up your confidence. And then advanced training as well. And then in Islington, it's run by Bikeability, and it's a similar thing. You can book it through the website even now. They're running it even now, and you can have a one-to-one instructor, and they can pick you up from your home and take you and find a route to work, or give you a safe route that you need. Some other really amazing resources are on the Cross River Partnerships website. So there's Getting from A to B, there's Creating Parklets and Community Business, and Healthy Streets Every Day. So the Creating the A to B has loads and loads of more. It's a huge toolkit with loads of up-to-date websites and resources that you can use from now and as you expand your active travel journey. So I would highly recommend going on and having a look at that. And all these resources will be linked on the leaflet as well that we'll send you afterwards. So when you've got a spare minute, you can click on all these links and have a look through them all.
So as Suzanne said, we thought we'd just share with you this really nice case study that we found. So there's this guy called Paul who works for Lambeth Council, and he kind of wanted to get into cycling, but he had lots of kind of the same feelings that you guys have kind of talked about in the workshop session. So he said that he felt quite nervous about cycling in London at first. He had it was quite intense and could be even quite dangerous. He also didn't kind of really understand the kind of cycle etiquette or the rules of the road and things like that. And on top of that, he didn't even actually own a bike, and wasn't kind of keen on making the investment unless he knew that he was actually going to cycle a lot and use the bike a lot. So he organised renting a bike through the Try Before You Buy scheme that Lambeth offer. And he picked up his bike in a local park where he met an instructor, and they had a one-to-one session and gave him kind of safety tips and instructions. And then the instructor even took Paul kind of on the route that he would usually do from home to work, and showed him kind of like the quiet routes and the safest routes to take. So Paul was obviously really happy with this experience, and he said he was kind of kitted out with, everything from kind of the bike itself to the helmet. You can get kind of your high-vis jackets if you want them, lights and kind of bike locks and everything. And he actually decided to buy the bike and all the kits in the end at a discounted price from the scheme, because he was just very into cycling after all of that. So yeah, really kind of positive effect.
So to just summarize everything really about what we've discussed and the workshop today. So what is active travel? active travel means getting from A to B using your own energy, whether that's by walking, jogging, cycling, wheeling, or even rollerblading. And why choose active travel? I mean, we've expanded it a lot, but in general, it's good for your health. It's good for the health of others, your community, and your wallet. And it's proven to help businesses by increasing footfall. And now how, where to start? I mean, even attending this workshop here is a great way to start and begin your active travel journey. But it's all about taking those small steps, speaking to your colleagues and your workplace to see how they can support you, and using all those incredible resources that are out there. One final thing we'd like you to do before you go is to make a pledge, which Jenny will expand on.
Yeah. So what we would love for you to do is just think about, taking everything that we've said today so far and think about what it is that's going to be your next step, that you might, think that you could commit to over the next kind of week or months, or however long you want to kind of make it. But if you could have a think about it for a couple of minutes and write your pledge in the chat box and share it with everyone, that would be really lovely. So it could be something like just kind of committing to 1 day a week of active travel, whether that's going to the shops or doing the school run in a more kind of active way. It could be about having a discussion with your employer about kind of how they could potentially, encourage active travel through some of the incentives that we talked about during the workshop. It could be about motivating your friends and family, kind of maybe getting all the rest of your family on board, or kind of talking to the kids about doing the school run by, walking or cycling. So that would be really amazing. Some of the things that you came up with, the polls, were really interesting actually as well. So it said the majority of you use actually public transport. So maybe just thinking around whether you could get off public transport kind of 1 or 2 stops earlier and walk the final stretch, and maybe kind of in your local area. So you all said that you walk around your local area, but some of you still said that you use a car. So whether it's something around that, we'll just give you a couple of minutes. So Stav's written something, I hope she doesn't mind that I share it with the group. So Stav has said her pledge is she plans on dusting off her old bike so she can cycle more for longer trips around the city, which is better for her health and the planet. Thank you so much, Stav, for sharing that. Oh, we've got lots coming in now. That's really great, guys. It's really helpful to kind of write these things down and almost make a promise to yourself. It just really helps in terms of kind of making these things into habits and a part of your daily routine. So Kate said she's going to use the clean air route finder more, which is great. Then she can cycle more often and choose more direct routes as there's less risk of getting lost. Yes, I struggle with that. I struggle with getting lost when I'm cycling. And Zoe says she pledges to learn more rides in London, as it will benefit her by saving time, money, and carbon footprint will improve, and it will make her more active, which is great. Emily says, I pledge to aim for 10,000 steps every day so that I'm focusing on walking more. Amazing. So we could just keep your pledges kind of rolling in. But we just want to thank you very much for joining the workshop today. It's been really great.
Yeah, thank you all. It's been really lovely having you all attend. But yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, jot down your pledge in the chat, because it's always lovely to hear them. Yeah, thank you for attending, and feel free to drop off whenever you'd like.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Lovely. I think it's just Kate, Kenny and I.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just thought I'd stay and say thank you.
No, thank you, Kate. That was really